can help in stopping the crime and rescuing victims. So you will be hearing from us throughout the month and organizations across the state of Florida about what we are doing to shine a light on trafficking, how it affects the victims, and ways that the community can help report when they suspect activity. Since my first days in office in 2019, this has been a priority, and that is to develop new and innovative ways, out-of-the-box thinking on how we can get information to law enforcement better to identify and then rescue victims of human trafficking. You may remember last year we announced first of its kind statewide human trafficking strike team. It's a statewide group that is specifically focused on taking in information from the public and other sources, working directly with state or with community partners, law enforcement, and others to rescue victims. This team has already been successful, it has already identified victims, and it has already enlisted the community's help in doing so. You may remember when we made a big announcement right in this area, multiple counties, where we identified 10 victims that were being trafficked, held against their will, by force, by holding their identification documentation. With the help of our strike team and local law enforcement partners, based on information and a tip through our hotline, we were able to rescue those victims. And it's already showing that if we work together, we can make a dent in the crime of human trafficking. We have also in Florida launched the 100% Club, and that recognizes organizations and businesses that train their employees on how to spot and identify victims of human trafficking and suspicious activity. We have partnered with truck drivers. As you can see, we are at a rest stop right now. Many trucks rest here, truck drivers. We know numerous instances where a Good Samaritan has reported information at a truck stop, at a rest stop, and victims have been rescued. So we launched Highway Heroes, where we specifically train our commercial truck drivers on how to spot trafficking and what to do when you get that information or you see something that looks suspicious. Now all of those folks that have been trained to spot human trafficking are eyes and ears on the roads, and we're already seeing that pay off. We know that traffickers use our roadways, our interstates, to not only move victims, but they also try to peddle in their trade at these truck stops and other rest stops, and that is why this is a hotbed and a great place to make sure we're posting information about how the public and others can report instances of human trafficking. The power of awareness among our community knows no bounds in this fight, and so we are all standing here today, stakeholders in our own right, players in our own right in this fight, to talk about what we are doing to fight trafficking and bring awareness not only on what to look for, but how to report it. And that is what brings us here today during National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. I am sure that you have heard, like I have stated, some of the instances here in Florida of where crimes have been reported, suspicious information has been reported, and victims have been rescued. Last year in the legislature, we passed legislation that required all of our signs at rest stops to reflect a new trafficking statewide hotline. We created and launched the statewide hotline, 1-855-FLA-SAFE, after we learned that the National Human Trafficking Hotline was no longer reporting tips to law enforcement. We wanted to make sure that that information was acted upon quickly and that victims could be identified and rescued. We wanted to make sure that those calls for help were answered. And so today we are joining with the Florida Department of Transportation to announce the placement of signs all across the state of Florida at all of our rest stops, like the one that I'm standing at right now, at our airports and at our train stations, that ask the public and others to report human trafficking to our statewide hotline at 855-FLA-SAFE. You'll be able to get a glimpse of that. It's already been put up here for you to get a picture of, and it will be up all across the state of Florida. we are very excited about this because we've already seen what happens if we can encourage folks, prompt folks, make it easy for folks to immediately report information that we can act on. You may think it might be too small. You would not believe the smallest of information, when we couple it with other things that we already have, has led to incredible life-saving rescues. So no piece of information is too small. And if it ends up being nothing, that is not a problem. We want more tips that end up being nothing, because out of that, we will get something that's actionable that we can use to save lives. I am joined today to make a second part of our announcement by Jamie Bond from A Place of Hope and Karen McLaren from Florida Association of Crime Stoppers for another part of our announcement. Like I said, a big part of human trafficking awareness is not only teaching the signs to look for, and everybody can train themselves on the signs to look for at youcanstopht.com. That is our website where we lay out all of the suspicious behavior and signs to look out for. But we want to make sure that people know where to go. So I've talked about our statewide hotline, 855-FLA-SAFE. I've talked about the signs that will now be posted at all the major transportation hubs across the state of Florida. But if you are someone that wants to report information but is apprehensive about reaching out and speaking directly with law enforcement or our statewide hotline, we are going to provide a mechanism, and now today a new incentive, that you can reach out anonymously and give this information. You may remember, since taking office, we have launched a first of its kind number for reporting tips on crime, and that's star tips. We launched it here in Florida because at the time we had dozens of different Crime Stopper numbers across the state of Florida. And we wanted one easy to remember way that folks could pick up their cell phone, no matter the crime, no matter the information that they have, call star tips. It'll be directly connected to Crime Stoppers offices near you that is relevant to your information. You can report information anonymously. That is not through law enforcement. Crime Stoppers never releases that information, and you may be eligible for a reward. You may remember when we announced star tips, we increased the amount of money that we were giving on homicide cases. And today I am proud to say, during National Human Trafficking Awareness Month, in partnership with A Place of Hope and with Florida Crime Stoppers, we are announcing an increase in reward money for anyone that provides anonymous information through the star tips helpline. And if that is actionable and we are able to pursue a case on human trafficking, we are increasing that reward to $7,500. So I ask, if anyone has information on human trafficking, if they suspect that it may lead to the rescue of a victim, the prosecution of a trafficker, taking them off the street so they cannot victimize others, call our statewide hotline, 1-855-FLA-SAFE, or to report anonymously and possibly be eligible for reward money, you can simply dial from your cell phone star tips. Utilizing these resources, both from the state of Florida, the Florida Department of Transportation, and our amazing partners, you can help us fight human trafficking and end this in the state of Florida as we work together. We have a great statewide team, not only our law enforcement statewide strike team, but our prosecutors that are working diligently. I want to commend them. Since taking office, they've put over 100 traffickers behind bars. They have nearly a perfect conviction rate. I am so proud of our team, and I want to thank them publicly for buying into this passion and this priority to stop human trafficking, be creative in how we're getting the public and enlisting the public to help us, and act expeditiously on that information so that victims cannot continuously be harmed by these horrible people that would undertake this atrocious crime for profit. For those watching, I would ask you go to youcanstopht.com, become familiar with the things to look out for that are the signs of human trafficking. Victims of trafficking, I can tell you the abuse does not stop. It is ongoing 24/7. They are often passed from trafficker to trafficker, moved from place to place. You could be the difference in stopping that today and ending that horrible experience, that tragic experience, and helping law enforcement do what they do best, and that is to put criminals behind bars. Don't hesitate to report what you know. Without further ado, I'd like to bring up Justin Hall, a fellow Plant Cityan, to talk to you. He's with the Florida Department of Transportation.
Thank you. As she said, my name is Justin Hall. I'm the West Central Florida Director of Transportation Development for FDOT. I'm proud to be here to represent FDOT as we join Attorney General Moody to raise awareness about human trafficking in Florida. But I'm also here as a father, and like many of you, I'm constantly thinking about my children and their safety. As an FDOT team member, I am proud to say I played a role in helping those who may find themselves in this tragic situation. FDOT has partnered with law enforcement for years, posting information at our public-facing facilities, like this rest area, to help human trafficking victims find help. The new version of this sign contains an FDOT or a Florida-specific phone number that was proposed and adopted by the Florida legislature and signed into law by Governor DeSantis. This new number gives Floridians an even greater ability to help trafficking victims by getting information quickly into the hands of law enforcement. The department is updating over 700 of these signs at rest areas, welcome centers, service plazas, airports, and passenger rail stations. It is FDOT's hope that these new signs will play a role in helping victims of this terrible crime find freedom. I want to thank Governor DeSantis, the Florida legislature, Attorney General Moody, law enforcement officers, and other partners for leading the fight against human trafficking, and I thank you for letting FDOT be a part of the solution.
We're now going to bring up Kelly McLaren, who is in charge, there she is, of Florida Crime Stoppers. Come on up, Kelly.
Thank you, General Moody. Law enforcement is committed and prepared to investigate all cases on human trafficking. However, they need the public's help. This is where you come in. If you have information, we urge you to share it because your awareness could be key to saving a life. Crime Stoppers is here 24/7 as a vital resource, offering the only true anonymous platform for reporting human trafficking. We understand that many people witness suspicious activity but are unsure how to act, or they fear retaliation from traffickers or their associates. That's where we come in. Crime Stoppers bridges the gap by providing a safe, confidential way to share critical information without a risk. We make it easy. You can report tips by calling ** tips from your mobile phone, or you can use the Florida Crime Stoppers mobile app, or you can contact your local Crime Stoppers program. Your information will be immediately passed on to law enforcement so they can take action without any delay. In partnership with Attorney General Moody's office, Place of Hope, Crime Stoppers is offering a significant reward up to $7,500 for tips lead to the recovery of a victim and the arrest of traffickers. These rewards can make a real difference in bringing these criminals to justice. Remember, your voice truly matters. Reporting what you see or suspect could be the turning point in rescuing victims and ending the abuse. By speaking up, you could save lives. Human trafficking is real and it exists. Together, we can make a difference. You have the power to help stop this crime. Thank you.
All right, we'll now hear from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, ASAC, Mark Brutnell.
Thank you, General Moody. Good morning. My name is Mark Brutnell, the Special Agent in charge for FDLE here in Tampa. I'm very excited about this announcement today. Just again, it goes to show the private sector and public partnerships and the collaboration it's outstanding. General Moody had a vision a couple of years ago in regards to human trafficking, and she created our human trafficking strike team, as she spoke to earlier, which is a statewide strike team, which is a little unique because in General Moody's marching orders for us, it was victim-centric, which we all identified a gap that we needed to focus on victims. And we've done that. And we've rescued several victims in the last year and a half across the state. But also we've held those traffickers accountable. And this again goes to leadership, and I applaud General Moody for her leadership for not only identifying a gap, but then giving us the resources and the tools to fight against these traffickers and rescue victims. And today is one more example of that. Another avenue to make it very easy for the public to give us information. Whether you go through Crime Stoppers, through FLA Safe, or through this new initiative, we will get the information, we will vet it out, and if it's what it is, we will run with it and hopefully rescue some victims and, more importantly, put some traffickers in jail. We can't do this without the support of General Moody and the public. You are our eyes and our ears out there, so please, if you see something doesn't look right, you have many platforms to give us the information. Let us vet it out, and we'll take care of the rest. Thank you for your help. Appreciate it.
And finally, this afternoon, we'll hear from Jamie Bond with A Place of Hope, one of our new partners.
Thank you and good morning. As General Ashley Moody said, I am Jamie Bond, Director of Advancement and Communications for A Place of Hope. And we're so honored to be here today to stand with you all, and we hope that you leave today inspired and take advantage of the resources that are put before. So for nearly 25 years, Place of Hope has witnessed firsthand the nauseating and heartbreaking realities of human trafficking. All the while, we have been and we continue to care for those survivors that are coming through our doors and helping to prevent at-risk youth from being groomed and victimized. We also understand at Place of Hope the importance of prevention, and we are working hard to stop child exploitation and human trafficking before it happens. We proudly stand behind our law enforcement officers as they aim to identify and protect and rescue survivors and at-risk youth. And in 2023, as you heard, Place of Hope pioneered a partnership with Crime Stoppers Palm Beach County, and since then we have seen an increase in tips reported as well as an increase in investigations. And today we are excited to be expanding this partnership with Crime Stoppers statewide. Finally, we are humbled and honored to be able to work alongside Florida's top cop, Attorney General Ashley Moody. We are grateful for her visionary leadership since she's taken office and her zeal to continue to lead the fight to end child exploitation and human trafficking in our great state. Thank you.
Well, this is really exciting. Today's announcement really encapsulates a lot of the projects and initiatives we've been building upon during my tenure as Attorney General, and it's all coming together in a way that allows the public to help us in this fight, encourages, incentivizes the public to help us in this fight, and that is the only way. Having the information, knowing what this is happening, making sure our law enforcement can respond timely, it is so very important. It's a crucial part of our crime fighting efforts, and I'm just so grateful that everybody was able to be here today and that you were able to be here today as we make these announcements, not only on the signs at our major transportation hubs, but the increased reward money and the partnerships for anonymous reporting through Crime Stoppers. It's so very important and vital to our efforts. It couldn't come at a better time. As many of you know, over the last 4 years, we've seen just an incredible surge across our southern border that has absolutely had an effect on human trafficking. The case I mentioned earlier, when we were able to rescue the 10 victims that were being held against their will, their identification documents being held, many of those folks were smuggled across the border and held against their will and used in trafficking. I can't tell you how much right now we need folks to be on the lookout and report this as soon as you see something. So I appreciate everybody being here today. I hope you will spread the word and help us increase awareness during National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Any of us would be happy to take any questions you may have at this time.
Yeah, this is obviously a very important topic, and we do have questions about it. But I just want to ask, first of all, have you had any conversations with Governor DeSantis about being appointed to the U.S. Senate, and would you consider that appointment?
Well, certainly today we are here to talk about human trafficking and about this fight and what that will take. It has been my honor to, alongside with DeSantis, fight on behalf of Floridians over the past 6 years. We have numerous conversations about many of these efforts. He has been incredibly supportive, as you heard. Both of these initiatives he was behind and supported and understands the need for those. I can tell you one thing about Governor DeSantis. He does not make a decision without being very deliberative, and he does so with a love for this country and a love for this state, and I think that decision will come with those things in mind.
Have you spoken with him about it?
I've spoken with him over time about many things that I think have gone wrong in this country and through misguided policies and finance mandates through our agencies, and what I've been trying to do as Attorney General to hold those in check. I mean, unfortunately, Congress needs to take back control of so many of these agencies that have gone awry. You've heard me talking about FEMA and how they wouldn't go to certain houses because they had Trump flags flying, and their major priority was DEI, not its mission, which was getting money into the hands of disaster victims. That's important for Floridians, especially having been hit with 2 hurricanes. So there's a lot to be done, and we've talked a lot about that. I have not been asked, and certainly I think my husband would be very upset with me if I spoke to the public about my intentions or plans without talking to him first. As you know, I'm a mom. Many of the things that drive me, including human trafficking, that passion stems from being a mom of a young child. And I could go through the things that I've worked on as AG, from social media to vaping in our schools, on and on and on. And all of that drives me because I am a mom right now, kid in school, with a husband that is very hands-on. And I think those conversations would have to be very detailed before I could agree to something like that. So out of respect for my law enforcement husband, I will not comment on what I might or might not do, but I will tell you, you probably hear in my voice, I care very much about this state, its protection, the interests of Floridians, and I deeply love this country, and I've loved serving in this capacity. Any other questions?
Sure. Obviously, when it comes to this rest stop, lots going on. You've got trucks here. You've got people walking there who are vending, bathrooms. Can someone, maybe you or someone else, explain what trafficking looks like? I mean, we say to keep our eyes open. What are we looking for when we're in such a busy place like this?
That is a great question. So oftentimes when I start out trainings and I'm welcoming folks that have taken time to learn about trafficking, I will give specific instances, like an airline employee who noticed someone that could be a victim and reported it to law enforcement, and the victim was saved. Or at a truck stop where people have reported instances where they saw something that looked amiss and a victim has been saved. So what can the public look out for? And I've talked about this, and again, I will direct everyone to go to youcanstopht.com. But if you see someone with scars and bruises, maybe a tattoo, sometimes there's a branding. That could be anything from a number or something that looks like a symbol. Folks that are hesitant to talk or speak out without looking to someone else first. If someone approaches you and looks malnourished or sick, it's in an odd time of day. There are instances where truck drivers have been reported their cab being knocked on in the middle of the night and something seemed amiss and they reported that. If someone is looking to someone else to give them guidance on what to say, if someone else has their identification documents, all of these are signs that someone may be being held against their will or forced into committing sex acts or other type of forced labor against their will. So I can go into many others, but I would really encourage everyone to go to youcanstopht.com and learn for yourself. If you are the head of an organization or a business and would like to join our 100% Club, you can go online and learn how to do that. We have had some great success here from private businesses. We had one of the largest businesses in the state sign up to a municipal city that said they wanted to train all of their employees. So if you are head of an organization, I would implore you to sign up for our 100% Club and train all of your employees.
Last question, please. Special Agent, can you talk about the vehicles we could look for on the road? What signs vehicles that's trafficking somebody might show?
There's lots of different ways to look for the vehicles. Sometimes they'll travel in tandem, or if they have, to the general's point, if they're getting out here to use the rest area, if the individuals look to someone else for permission to go to the bathroom, or they seem disheveled. There's lots of different factors in those. And to the general's point, if you go to the stopht.com, there's all kinds of indicators, behavior indicators that can be identifiable towards HT. That's a great resource to go to. Thank you.
All right, thank you again for being here today. We appreciate your time.